So today's film was one I watched because, as always, it's about to expire on Filmstruck, and it's from the '80s, and I love the '80s. Somehow I'd never seen it. Stars Dennis Quaid. I love Dennis Quaid, and it uses a Sam Cooke song multiple times, and Sam Cooke is one of my all-time favorite musicians. So I'm like, how have I never seen this movie? I don't know. Because I've seen a lot of this era of '80s films. I'm not sure how this one escaped my viewing, but this is Joe Dante's Innerspace. It's from 1987, and it's from an original story and screenplay by Chip Proser, which was then rewritten by Jeffrey Boehm after it was brought to Warner Brothers, and it was developed with Amblin Entertainment. So Spielberg was an executive producer, and it was inspired by Fantastic Voyage, which was, when they're inside the human body. So the thought was to have originally like a small dude in a big guy's body or something like that. And eventually it wound up being, what if you put Dean Martin inside of Jerry Lewis's body? Thus, you have Dennis Quaid as a hot shot but slightly alcoholic Air Force dude who has lost his job and is now volunteering for this crazy mission where he thought he was going to be injected into the body of a rabbit because he's been miniaturized. However, when a rival company breaks into the laboratory, he gets accidentally injected into Martin Short, who is a sort of looking for, oh my god, I had it. No, hypochondriac. There we go. He's a hypochondriac grocery store clerk who is not very outgoing, doesn't have a lot of self-esteem. He has also just broken up with his girlfriend, played by Meg Ryan. She will come back later in the film. So he gets injected into Martin Short, and this is like high sci-fi, so like anything goes. So he's able to eventually tap into the auditory cortex or whatever and talk directly to him. He's able to see through his eyes, like all kinds of stuff, because sci-fi. And eventually, he basically has a day to get back out of the guy's body before he runs out of space, but they need a chip. One chip is with him, the other chip has been stolen, so they have to get to the people who've stolen the chip. Which brings you to Meg Ryan, who is an investigative journalist, and she's going to help them find this chip. And so it's sort of a spy, Cold War, sci-fi comedy. Whole bunch of things all mixed together. It won an Oscar for its visual effects, including a scene where Martin Short's face completely changes, and it's all like weird. That scene was fun. Again, Sam Cooke music, fantastic. This is the movie where Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan met. They were married for about a decade. What else to say about this film? It mostly has aged well in terms of its gender politics, which is shocking. There is a scene where Dennis Quaid's character is a bit of a jerk, and he tells Martin Short to be a jerk to Meg Ryan, but she's not having it because she's a tough cookie. And there's some sequences where the Martin Short character could be even more sexist than he is, and he sort of tones it down and realizes that he should maybe not do that. And so in going through this adventure with Dennis Quaid inside of him, he eventually comes to realize that he is much stronger a person than he thought he was, and by the time the film ends, he is able to be his own hero. And it was done in a way that felt natural, and I enjoyed watching his journey and him realizing that he can do more than he thought he could do. So that's always good. So I enjoyed this film. I'm glad I watched it. It expires on Friday, so you have a couple of days to check it out, and I think you'll probably enjoy it. It's definitely, we don't have a lot of these sort of cross-genre films getting made much anymore, so it's always fun to see the 80s when there were so many of them. So this was, again, 1987, Joe Dante's Innerspace.